Hi everyone, welcome to another live Eqafe Google Hangout. Today we will be discussing the Soul of Money interview, Overcoming the Burdens of Leadership. And for my guest today, we have Valentin from Slovenia. Welcome, Valentin. Thanks for being here.
Hi.
So I just wanted to share briefly a bit about what Eqafe is. Just for the viewers who are not sure. Eqafe is a website that has interview support through Sunette Spies, who is the Interdimensional portal from Destiny. Destiny.org is another website. And in this site, it covers a whole range of different topics. Really any kind of issue or point that you're facing in your life, you can go and kind of search this website and gain information and perspective on these issues through Sunette, through the portal. So that's basically the gist of what Eqafe is. Okay, so in this interview here, we're going to be discussing leadership and overcoming the burdens of leadership. We're basing it off of one of the series in the Eqafe site, the Soul of Money series. And I'm going to just bring it to Valentin. And Valentin, why don't you just discuss a little bit about what this interview is about?
Yeah, so this interview is about position in top leadership role, how to cope with every possible pressure and challenges that a person has to endure in such a position.
Okay, right. Yeah, and just to add a little bit, it focuses on someone who is stressed and, having a hard time dealing with all the pressure and responsibilities of leadership. What experiences you go through in that kind of situation, the stress, the feeling tired, feeling overexerted, and then they give practical support for this kind of experience, if you can relate to this, of how to support yourself to find solutions for these kind of stressful situations you can experience when you are a leader in a business, or kind of any point in your life where you have to stand as a leader, and what all that entails. So Valentin, how in your life have you experienced leadership? Maybe explain a little bit about your business and how you have become a leader in your business now.
Okay, so to give you some of my professional background, in our family, my father started a home business. So my initial role was like a worker in our family business, and my father, and especially father, took the position of a leader, of a manager. And then I transitioned into creating my own company. I worked mostly as a freelancer. I had from time to time some co-workers. But now, a couple of years ago, I decided to step in the more leading role of organization. I created a new private educational company, and I'm now building a team of co-workers where I am basically in the role of a top leader.
Very cool. I also can relate to your experience of taking on a leadership role. Sorry, one thing I forgot to mention was we do have the question and answers tab open, so if you guys as the viewers have any questions during this live session, you can write them in. We'll get to them to answer them. Also, if you have questions after, you can write it in the comment section, and we'll answer them there as well. So back to the point. So I also am in leadership roles in my jobs. I'm working as an office manager in my current full-time job, and also I have a business with my partner that we're establishing. It's a new venture that we're establishing, and within that, I have experienced a lot in terms of how pressure can get to you when you are the one that people come to for answers, or people come to have issues solved and delegating tasks out. So I very much relate to this interview and the stresses and pressures that can come with leadership. So I definitely can relate to that. So Valentin, within your business structure, how can you relate to the stresses and pressure that they described in this interview? Like, can you give examples of some points that you've walked with facing this stress and the amount of responsibilities it takes to start a business and get it moving and maintaining that movement and such?
Yeah. So when I started working as a freelancer, it was very cool for me because I had not much responsibilities. I cherished the freedom of time. And now, when I decided to create a bigger organization, I initially went into a stage of overwhelmingness, of being afraid how I will be able to manage all the tasks, all the responsibilities, how to communicate with all the people. So with assistance of these interviews and also Destiny tools like Destiny I process, I was able to come to conclusion that leadership is not about controlling everything, to direct every people to do exactly as you want, but it is more a role of creating a vision for the company, to delegate tasks, and to allow people to express themselves, to enable them to come with their potentials, their ideas, and to contribute to the manifestation of the company's vision.
Very cool. Yeah, I mean, I can relate to that as well in terms of more of the solution to these kind of stressor points. For example, within my management structure of how I have built kind of the structure of my business, I had a lot of freedom in my job because it's my dad's company. So he kind of allowed me to create the structure that I saw best, and he gave me a lot of ability to kind of formulate it and create it in the way that I saw fit and I saw best. So it was a cool opportunity in that sense to kind of show myself who I am within the leadership role and how I will perform. And some of the points, like the not so great points that I've realized about myself, is that like when the going gets tougher, there's points that like say I had to get a project done by a certain amount of time and I didn't delegate the tasks to people in a proper time frame, or that I didn't train the people well enough to be able to perform that task in a way that is supportive for them to be able to fulfill that. So within that, realizing that, you know, what comes up within me was a sense of blaming the other people for not being on task or not performing to the way I expect them to perform. And within that, there's conflict that arises with the other person, because then they're coming from a perspective of, you know, you are supposed to train me. You didn't prepare me well enough. So, you know, within that, you have to learn on the go, on the spot, to correct yourself right then, right there, and within yourself find ways to become better and move into a point of, you know, correction immediately. Well, not immediately, but within, you know, a short amount of time, because those tasks then start to build over time and accumulate, and then it just puts more pressure on you. So, yeah, so it's also like dealing with people, you know, how to deal with different personality types, different kinds of ways of working, and within that, learning, like, within myself, where do I have to grow and where do I have to kind of become better within myself, so I can stand and be able to support people to be at their best. Because again, a leader, they're looking for me for support. They're looking for me to lead them into a way of, you know, how things are supposed to be done, or how to do things in terms of the way I want, or, you know, in terms of my vision for the way forward. So, you know, things like that, like, if you don't support people in that way and you don't plan yourself effectively, this pressure and this stress starts to build in yourself, and then you can take it out on other people, like yelling at them or being quick with them or being rude to them, because in your mind you've created some kind of blame that it's their fault. But when in reality, if you bring it back to yourself, realizing that I didn't train them effectively, it's not their fault, it's something I have to take responsibility for. So that's an example that I've faced in terms of this point of stress building and how that kind of plays out in the workforce. Anything you want to add, Valentin?
Yeah, I realized that being a leader is mostly leading by your own example. And there are different kinds of leadership. Previously, there was more a role of pushing people. And now it's more about pulling people up, to build them up, to show them how they can also be leader. And mostly everyone has to be leader of themselves, to lead their life, to be successful in achieving their micro agendas, micro goals. And of course, it is also important to leave emotions out of the business. This is also discussed in this interview. The leader has to separate everything that has accumulated emotional-wise and transform these emotions in order to become emotionally stable, to use common self, and to direct the company with responsibility in considering what is best for everyone that is involved in this company.
Right. Yes, and within that, the point about emotions and how you have to leave your emotions, you know, out of the role of being a leader with others and with your business and moving it forward into the marketplace. There's a line, though, that they discussed in this interview where you can kind of start to place value in yourself as the leader and gaining kind of a point of believing that you are somehow more or better because you're in this leadership role. So starting to become emotional about this role as a leader. So can you relate to that at all?
Yes, this was also my point, my pattern that I inherited from my parents. I was raised as a oldest child, and I was pushed to excel, to be something better. And then when I started to work with people, I noticed how judgmental I was, how I was criticizing people, how I was paying attention to all the details. And of course, this is not the best leadership role. So one needs to equalize themselves. The dictatorship does not work anymore. Now it's more business, it's more structured, horizontal, not so much vertical. And the leader has to become equal to everyone that is employed. It is just a function, it is not some kind of position that makes you more important and allowing yourself to treat other people differently that you would treat people in your similar position.
Very cool. Yes, I can relate to that as well. Also, a point that I face within this leadership role and seeing myself kind of become the way I actually expressed it was this ego point was more like I don't want to take responsibility for people. Like I don't want to stand and be totally responsible for everything that I'm creating and everything I'm implementing because it's too much. It's too overwhelming. I don't want to have to do all this, so to speak. So within that, realizing my role as the manager, the leader of the office setting, of the office people, that within that I am kind of placed in the position I'm in because I need to do all the steps to get everything done. And within that, of course, there's pay, grades. So, when you're a leader, you're actually being compensated more than those who are like underneath or those who are, who are looking at you as a leader. And so within that comes more responsibility, of course. It's not to say that any of those people can't be a leader. It's just the structure of businesses today. It's how it's structured. So within that kind of becoming, in a way, not wanting to stand as a leader has shown me like, it's just a matter of kind of, again, abdicating responsibility, being kind of immature within myself and, not realizing that with the cool or the responsibility that being a leader comes with, you have to also stand that. It's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of hard work. It's going to take a lot of planning and, research and developing, your resources, your systems, the way you're managing, the way you're, your marketing or whatever roles you're playing in the leadership position. It's not, you can't back away or you're going to be let go of and not be able to, or basically showcase that you're not able to stand that point as a leader. But within this interview, what they shared was some support tools that everybody who faces this point of leadership in their business or even leadership in your whatever parts of your life that you're standing as a leader, some support tools to help you become the best leader that you can become. So Valentin, why don't you share some of these support tools and how you have used that in your current business to move through these points that are like the ego points or the stress points.
Yeah, so it is important to stay focused on what is here, physically present, to be able to let everything that was in the past, and to direct yourself to the plans of the future. And what is distracting from this concentration in the present moment is thoughts and emotions that get triggered by the mind. And in order to achieve this emotional stability, one has to use different tools, like focus on your breathing, then to write down what is going on in your mind, your thoughts, to analyze your thoughts, and to see what is their agenda, how are they influencing you, are they supportive, are they dividing yourself, are they creating some emotional reactions. So with these tools that are also taught at Destiny I process, writing yourself to freedom and so on, those tools assist yourself to be effective as a leader, to have a clear head, and that in this way you are able to then stay in this moment, to be focused and to go step by step. They say you can only eat elephant one bite at a time. So there are a lot of steps in business, and a lot needs to be done. But if you see what is the vision of the company, and this is stretched over several years or decades, there are a lot of tasks that needs to be done. So if you think about everything, what every employee needs to do, there is a lot of information. So it is important to use tools that ground you, that enables you to keep you here in the physical, to anchor yourself in this moment, and then to slice big projects and big tasks into small single-step tasks. And then you go just one task by task and so on. And this is how everything can be achieved, one step by time.
Very cool, and I agree with that totally. Definitely using tools to support you in times of pressure or stress within the business world. That how I relate to that and how I've kind of moved through that was also the tools of breathing, of bringing yourself back. Like if you have an emotional reaction towards someone, leaving the office for a minute, going for a walk, like just breathing through the reaction, breathing through the emotions. If you're familiar with Destiny I process, we use self-forgiveness and self-corrective statements to support yourself, to ground the thoughts and points that are going on in your mind, to ground it into the physical through your words, to realize some ways in the moment to change yourself. Or you can, again, write, like Valentin said, write a list of the points that are coming up. So in writing later on, after work, you can write the points that I've been walking this process for years with my work, and it's been extremely supportive. But on a more practical note, in terms of what I've learned within being a leader within my office, so to speak, how when things come up, again, like Valentin said, don't look at the whole issue or the whole problem in one go. Write the problem down. Look at how you can break out the problem into pieces, and what are you going to do with those pieces to help find solutions for them. So within that, you have to go, like I've used like Google research, what tools out there can support me to find ways to send tasks to people and track their timing in the tasks, and assign different people to different tasks. So I'm looking for now a program, because the problem that was coming up was the task was getting told to one person, they were saying it to another person, asking the other person to tell this person, and then this person is asking the other person. So this one task was getting filtered through many people in the business, when obviously that's not working because the task never got done in the end. So one of the problems I'm facing currently is finding a new form of divvying up tasks and finding ways to assign them to people, basically. So a program, basically a software to do this. So what I've done is basically take it, whatever comes up problem by problem, and then within that problem, I focus completely on the problem and find a solution for that. So I keep working at it and keep digging and looking for solutions, and eventually a solution will come up, and I'll practice that solution and I'll put it into implementation. Then I'll learn more. Okay, I have to train this person and this person to figure out what they have to do to make this new program work. So then there's another step that moves the point forward. So I train the two people, and then it keeps building. So you're constantly in a process of finding, problems presenting themselves, and you as a person delegating it out, and either finding solutions that will support with delegation to the people working with you, or whatever the point is to solve the problem. So, using resources, I mean, there's, even Google, you can just Google something and find solutions to whatever problems are here. I mean, there's a lot out there, free stuff. I use many free platforms, so, it's sky's the limit, really. So use your resources, basically. There's tons out there, and, the breathing and the supporting yourself to not go into the emotion, but bring it back to reality, bring it back to practical solutions. Don't get overwhelmed. And yeah, so that's some support I've used for myself to walk through problem issues or stress issues in the workplace.
Cool.
Okay, so we do have a question here. Dan Malara asks, being a leader who just manages others does seem like a burden. So a more effective leader is one who empowers others to lead themselves. Would you agree? Any personal stories or perspectives here?
Yes, of course. As I said, today leadership is about building others, because organization is composed of all the people, and if you want to achieve agenda effectively, you need to train every people in the organization, and this is constantly, so that they can expand themselves to be more effective, to learn new things. And by supporting everyone to be the best they can be, also the joint result of everyone that is participating in the organization will be much better, and all the goals of organization can be achieved quicker and with less effort.
Very cool, Valentin. And to add, the way I see that point of empowering others, that yes, it's definitely a part of being a leader to empower those around you to be the best they can be, for sure. What I've realized within myself within this point is if I have held on to, like, say, a reaction or a point within me in emotion towards any person or even to myself, if I hold on to that, I start to become someone who is in like a reactive state, blaming, not being supportive. But when I am standing at my best, which is supporting myself to correct myself within the emotions that may come up, finding solutions for that, doing the breathing, doing the self-forgiveness, going out and getting some air. Because these pressure situations, of course, do come up during work. So if you find ways and solutions for those points and correct yourself, you start to correct and change yourself in those moments, you become better, you become the best you can be. And that resonates out to the people you're working with, and the environment starts to change, and people become more receptive of you as a leader. They start to listen to you, and you start to share yourself more expressively, because within yourself you are standing as a point. You've walked the correction point, and now you can share yourself in a way that is supporting other people, because you've looked at the point, you see the solution, you see the correction, you see what systems or what points you can put in place to help that environment, help the people in that environment be better, flow better. So yeah, that's how I see that point. All right, Valentine, we're running on towards the end of this hangout. Thank you, Dan, for that question. I appreciate it. So Valentine, do you have anything to add with this hangout or in this interview? Anything to add in your perspective?
Well, I would just like to invite every leader or everyone that plans to become a leader to make the best of the available Destiny tools in form of audios, videos, online courses. We have special audio series for the leaders, for the leadership, how to become more effective in self-management and also in managing others. So Destiny tools are really great. They are very specific and support you for every area of the life.
Great, well said. I can definitely second that. So that's it for this hangout. Definitely check out Eqafe if you have, there's many interviews on many different topics, leadership, business. So just search these topics in the Eqafe site, and you'll find many perspectives in there, many dimensions to these points. So it's a very awesome tool. Thank you, Valentine, for joining me in this hangout today. I really appreciate your perspective and your sharing.
My pleasure.
Okay, everyone, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Have a good night.